So welcome to our Selleh Park Improvements meeting. I'm Shawn Warner with Neighborhood Services, and I'm joined by Dave McClure and Craig Hayton with Parks and Recreation. We are going to be recording the meeting so we can place it on the project website for those of you who couldn't join us. For now, we just ask that you remain muted as we go through the presentation, and then we'll open it up for questions and answers afterwards. So now I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Dave.
Thank you, Shauna. As Shauna mentioned, I'm Dave McClure, the landscape architect with the City of Tempe Parks and Recreation Department. And let me go to the next page. And there's my email and my contact information.
Dave, I'm just seeing your picture. I'm not seeing the video or the screen.
You're not seeing the presentation?
No, Shauna, are you?
I am. You're good.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm seeing it as well.
All right. It's you, Craig. So one of the discussions we're going to have is picnic ramadas. And one of the first things we ask on the survey is an option, a yes or no for a ramada in the park. If you choose yes or no, you can still select the size of the ramada. We could either do two 20 by 20 ramadas that would have two picnic tables under each of them, or you can pick one large ramada, 24 by 34. They could have 4 picnic tables underneath. And then each ramada area would also have trash receptacles and a grill and electrical outlets. Another thing we're meeting on is the lake edge improvements. So we'll have options for that. And with the improvements, we'll also look at aeration and removal of sediment to improve the water quality. And then also we'll be doing irrigation improvements in the park, converting a lot of the flood areas to sprinklers so that we can do less flooding of the park, making it more usable, especially throughout the summer, where we'd have spray heads over 100% coverage of the park and the turf areas to reduce the frequency of the flood. This sheet shows the locations of the ramadas, the optional locations. Option A is up on the north side of the lake, which we were calling the fishing ramada or lakeside ramada is option A. Option B, we're calling the sports ramada, which is kind of between the lake and the basketball courts. And then option area, I'm missing one. Oh, sorry. B is actually the hilltop. There's the hillside right on this part of the lake is B, the hillside ramada. And then we have the sports ramada as option C. And then option D is the play area ramada. So those are our 4 options for either the two 20 by 20s or a single 24 by 34 ramada. And these are pictures of each of the ramada areas. So this is option A, the lakeside ramada, the approximate location where that would go. Option B, this is the hillside ramada, where that one would go. And then option C kind of shows that off the sidewalk, on that sidewalk leading from the lake area to the basketball court for that location. And then the one near the playground, kind of that sidewalk just on the south side of that sidewalk going to the playground area. Next slide. And we also have ramada finish options. You have the metal post finish, which is a standard post for structure. And then you have the scored CMU. And then you have a notch CMU block option and the stone veneer option. All of them come with a metal roof, standing seam roof. We will in the survey also give a color option for that roof. And for the lake edge options, we looked at several different lakes and took pictures. And so we have a lake edge option A, which is more natural with vegetation and kind of a natural edge. Option B, which is like a textured concrete. And then option C is like keeping the existing river rock, but making it more stabilized. And then we can do a combination of the options as well. So option D would be the natural edge with the vegetation mixed with textured concrete edge. And then option E would be the natural vegetation with the river rock edge. And then as another option, we're looking at, if the budget allows, that we could do some kind of little stream bed that would help with aeration and water quality, and or the floating stream bed, which is similar to the planting beds that we have in the lake now. So those are the lake edge options. And then here's how you give your input. You can go to the website, or we have our meeting tonight in the park as well. And then for other questions, you can also contact Aaron Kirkpatrick, the Capital Improvement Program Project Coordinator, at that number and the email. And then of course, Shawn Warner, who's on with us. So at this point, I guess we open up to questions, and I can go back to any slide you'd want to see and discuss again.
So Ellie or Ann, thanks for joining us. If you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself and ask. And as Dave mentioned, he can pull up any of the pictures or cover any of the information again.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I have no questions. I'm just here to see what's up and get information. So thank you.
Will you be joining us this evening in the park?
I'm going to try and make it over there. Yes.
Great.
Thank you.
And I'll be over this evening at the park. I will probably ask more questions then. I mean, the only thing I can think of is, for now, is assuming we don't have a Ramada on that hill.
Mhm.
What is the plans for getting trees back up there? I know they died due to the boring beetles, but
Yeah, I think so. Here on the first slide, as part of it as well, we'll be looking at trees that either have perished because from the trees that we planted as the grant projects, and definitely those pine trees. Yeah, that was a shame to lose those. That was up on that hill. I believe there was 4 of them there. Yeah, and there's even some cottonwoods around the lake too that have probably perished. I don't think they've been removed yet, but.
Does anybody have any idea what happened to those, or
The cottonwoods?
Do you think they got the boring beetle too, or
I don't think it affects cottonwood trees. No. The boring beetles typically only affects trees when they're already stressed out, which could have been from last summer when we didn't get any rain.
Yeah,
that would be my guess, is what affected those pine trees. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been noted 2 of the cottonwoods have died. And how about the possibility, other than, I love the floating stream bed and the water feature, the 2 that you had, but is there any possibility of expanding the floating islands so that they help water quality?
Yeah, we could definitely discuss that, and you and Craig and ourselves offline, or we can discuss the possibility of additional those, especially when we start working with a engineering firm or a lake firm basically to do the lake edge and stuff.
Yeah, because the ones there, I actually haven't maintained them in 2 years. The only issue with them is they are getting some trees.
Yeah, the bottle brush tree is in one.
So I figured I've been kind of waiting till I know you're going to take those out and we can remove those at that point. But, other than that, they're really pretty much have been no maintenance, and they've looked pretty good, I think.
Yeah, they look really good.
Yeah, they took a little while to get established. But once that's mostly yerba mensa that's living on them, but in a grassy type of plant, both native. But anyways, okay. And the other thing is, have you guys figured out how much of the existing vegetation would, I mean, can we leave all the trees? And I mean, have you guys figured anything out, or is that later?
We haven't figured that out yet. Yeah, when we work with
Yeah.
our consultant on that, we'll definitely see, but we definitely want to save whatever we possibly can. Obviously, yeah, we know that the habitat there is a big, big issue and deal. So we definitely want to
Yeah.
save what we can, not only trees, but shrub wise as well. Some of the shrubs
Yeah.
might be good to remove actually.
Yes, yeah,
Like
like
the
the
umbrella plant
umbrellas.
out there, I know.
Those are, yeah, it'd be good to get more all native kind
Mhm.
of stuff around there.
Mm.
And then, let's see, oh, okay, on the irrigation,
Mhm.
you, it sounds like you're gonna address some of the issues with the flood irrigation, but there's a lot of turf issues, that have been caused by the flood irrigation. So,
Sure.
like uneven areas
Mhm.
and there's also some burrweed, but what plan might there be to just kind of returf the park because or do you think that's something that would happen over time as you get the sprinklers in place?
You want to
Because
answer that, Craig, or?
Sure,
yeah,
you bet. Thanks, Ann. Great question. And really the hope is not just to improve the or what now is the flood week accessibility to the park because of the mix of sprinklers and flood, but also to provide better turf coverage through the establishment potentially of new turf. What we'd probably end up doing is stepping back the flood irrigation so that we can make sure that we're keeping the trees healthy. They're used to that deep flood, working with Richard on a suitable schedule for that over multiple years. But with the sprinklers, be able then to make some secondary improvements to the turf. I think just the coverage and then the ability to, each specific zone to match the irrigation rather than a low spot just being the last place that dries out, I think will be a key plus. Plus, if we need to go back and sod at some point, this gives us the ability to do so with flood irrigation. As you're familiar with Hollis Park and the recent playground improvements, it's more difficult to reestablish turf around the playground where you've had construction activity when you don't have sprinklers. So the sprinklers really allow us to have a more targeted approach to reestablish some turf. Hollis has seen some improvements this year. I'm out there monthly with Shane, but we'd anticipate sprinklers would really help speed that up. And if we needed a seed, it gives us the opportunity without it kind of flooding away into one corner of the park.
Yeah, I just because there's some areas, that were shady, not only flooded but shady, so they're just like, and then people drove trucks over them, so they're like, if you try and walk or play on them, they might actually need like some resurfacing in those areas. But
yeah, and what drainage
Yeah.
improvements can we make in some of those areas? Dave has documented the areas that dry
yeah,
out, that take the longest to dry out.
that's good.
Not just as a first line, hey, we need to address drainage here, but even after sprinklers are in, are there continued drainage issues that we're facing that we need to, whether we probably would look at designing something and then constructing it separate if we needed to make some minor drainage improvements, whether a consultant recommends some French drains or something out there, we can certainly look at that after the fact. We can probably get more bang for our buck by designing something, utilizing a consultant at this phase, even if we don't have the construction funds to then come back and implement something after the fact. But
That's true. Yeah, it'd be great to see. There's several areas of the park that just are kind of unusable as far as walking, and
Yeah,
especially over by the
glad that-
playground.
Yeah, I'm really glad that that's being addressed because that is really number one, is that drainage is, I think less people go there because they know how muddy it is certain times.
Yeah, we're a
So,
pretty busy park, but over by the playground, I think people would really use the turf over there for soccer or whatever if it
yeah,
was flat and not wet all the time. But
I have
but
a
of course,
question.
yeah.
Go ahead, Ann. Did you have something else or?
Nope, I pretty much covered anything I was thinking about offhand.
I was just curious on what the consensus is about this picnic Ramada?
That's why we're doing the outreach. and the
Yeah, so
survey.
we just started. So this is the kickoff of the project. And so we're just starting to take input. So that's part of what we're here to talk about and certainly collect through the survey. And then because this is just the beginning, we'll make sure and keep all of our residents up to date and informed as we move forward and of any other, kind of decisions or consensus or options or anything like that. And based on what we hear, it might warrant coming out and talking some more or not. So we just kind of have to, right now, we've got a couple weeks of collecting that input. So we encourage everyone to go online, take the survey.
Yes.
Call me if you don't have access.
Thank you,
we'll get your
Shauna.
input. Yeah.
Yes, I will definitely get in there and take the survey. I just kind of wanted to feel people out between this meeting and the meeting later on today. I have to say that I really don't know enough to pass an opinion on whether I would advocate a picnic Ramada, but in the past, I keep hearing the negative side of it, that you do get more stragglers and homeless people when you have a Ramada like that. So what's your spin on that?
So Ellie, great question. And I think our main goal is to increase shade, and it's through multiple methods. And we've done it through trees, absolutely. We'll continue to do that. Playground projects include a shade structure as well. And then one of the additional pieces that we've looked at to increase the overall shade is a covered picnic area. And we don't want to assume that that's what everybody wants. So, and there's some limitations if there aren't covered picnic areas, but there's potential activity that you could see as well, and that's something that from a parks perspective, we just want to make sure that we get input and then are able to circle back up after the fact. So
thank you, Craig. That's very helpful. So I would say that in my own opinion, I would say more trees as opposed to a Ramada, just because the environmental end of it and the green aspect of Tempe, I just, we're trying to make it as green as possible. So that's kind of why I'd lean in the direction of not having a Ramada. And what are your thoughts on the Ramada? I'm
not really interested in a Ramada. I'd rather see trees, but I was also going to ask, as if and feedback from neighbors has generally been that they don't want it, but of course I'm not talking to everybody. And the other thing that I don't think I saw pictured was we just put in a big floor table area. So I didn't see a Ramada option for, instead of taking more park space for picnic area, which I kind of think we don't need another big picnic area because we built that four seat one. So I hate to lose the green space. I mean, the only time where all the tables are taken are like Easter, and we don't need a whole nother set of tables and taking the turf away. I
agree.
For that, but in the fishing Ramada, I'm kind of interested in, but I'm not, I can't see what the pictures were because I'm on my iPhone, since I'm at work. So I couldn't really see, but I'll be able to see better tonight. But anyways,
and all of that's on the website too when you get a minute too. So
but anyways, maybe an option where there was a Ramada over that 4-bench area but I think there's a lot of trees around that too. So
there is trees there, Ann, and the main reason we didn't show that as an option is because we would basically have to destroy that grant project that was just put in order to get the Ramada footings in, and it would have to be the larger size one. And I didn't want to rip up all that concrete, and we might actually have to make that area where that picnic table is bigger if we do the larger one.
No, it's perfect.
That's
the way
main reason we didn't show that as an option.
That picnic table is well used and it's really perfect as it is. But Now, the
Yeah.
other pictures you had of Ramadas was, I couldn't see since I'm on my iPhone, but is one of them
With the
where,
material options or the locations?
yeah, I'll have to look more. I was
location
thinking
or
because
the-
there is an existing picnic table on
Hmm.
the south side of the park, you know, almost by
Yeah,
the
there's existing
alley.
picnic area here.
Is that where you would put
There's a-
that other? Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking the one
Well, here's the picnic
not by
area.
the,
Here's another picnic area. Here's your grant project picnic area here by the playground.
oh, I see. Yeah, I'm thinking
Yeah.
The
below
Ramada,
that.
one of the Ramada option D is kind of off that like triangular
Oh,
piece
I
of
see.
sidewalk that goes towards the playground and still around the lake.
Yeah.
Dave,
No,
do
I
you want to
was,
zoom in? That might
I
help.
was,
Yeah, I can
no, I
see.
was thinking more down below that, along the alley. Right there, stop there.
Hmm.
You see
Yeah,
that spot? Yeah,
I've always thought that kind of enhancing that area near the playground to that alley that leads to that pocket park, that's a sweet little area there too. And if you could kind of engage the two places, but the parking lot's in the way. So,
yeah, I was gonna look, yeah, I'll
Yeah.
look at that. Other dirt space doesn't belong to the city, so that's
You're
in
also
the
getting off
school.
of most of the residents here on this side.
You are, yeah, so
Yes,
that's probably,
yes. Hmm.
that's probably
That's
not
probably
a good
considered
spot.
more central in the park, yeah.
Yeah, I know the neighbor behind there because she's right across the street from me and she's probably doesn't want the noise.
And how did you ever see a time that those picnic tables were all full up and there were people looking for more picnic tables?
The only day is Easter. Easter is
Yeah,
always
so
busy,
why
but
put more
that's not,
picnic tables?
yeah, I don't see, but we can survey everybody.
But like,
But-
why not just put
and
a whole lot more shade over the existing picnic tables with trees and greenery?
Yeah, well, also that area where, up along the sidewalk. I mean, both those areas are all perfect. If the turf was better, I think they'd be
Right,
used for
and the
soccer and frisbee.
drainage, yeah.
You always
Yeah,
have
if the-
also, the lakeside / fishing armada, which necessarily doesn't have to have picnic tables. It could have maybe
Right.
picnic tables and some benches for people to
Yeah, I
look out
think,
into the lake. So,
yeah, that's a pretty neat
yeah.
thing. So
I'm
that
sorry,
might be
I thought the conversation went that the fishing ramada is not doable because it would mean breaking up some concrete in an area that we've already done? No?
That was putting,
No.
putting a Ramada location in here where we just did the grant project for the picnic tables. I think there's 4 picnic tables
Okay.
in that area, just
Yeah.
to on
Yeah.
the west side of the playground. That's what we were talking about before. So this is like brand new concrete with a tree here. I thought there was another tree out here too.
Yeah,
So
there's
there-
several. There's a tree in the middle and there's a tree on each side of that picnic table. So it will get shaded. They're just
Yeah.
young trees.
So that's
Yeah.
the area we were talking about,
Yeah.
Okay, so the area you're proposing to put a fishing ramada is,
up here, option A. Which is not in the turf, it's between the sidewalk and the lake edge.
That would probably tear out some of the gardens we put in, right? The native.
It would, yeah. One
Yeah.
of those grant
But-
projects, I think has a.
Yeah,
over
But
there.
that's not, I mean, you can kind of,
Yeah,
you can
Hmm.
probably just move those plants off around to the
so we're
edge.
calling it a fishing ramada. And how many people do we see fishing?
Well, the difference is, Ellie, is that once they do this this pond remodel, the water will be aerated, and so then they can go to Arizona Game and Fish and ask them to start stocking this lake, and so there might be more fishing.
So-
And I still see people fishing anyways, right?
I haven't
And
seen too
Shauna,
many, but there is
have-
some, yes.
I'm sorry,
There's less.
David?
I have seen people fishing there before. And I have seen fish in the
Okay.
lake as well.
That-
Occasionally it does happen. And again, I'm not there all the time, so.
Well, what happened is a couple years ago, we had the fish kill.
The golden
So
algae.
people used to fish there a lot more, but once we had the fish kill,
So,
it killed all the
Shauna,
fish.
Shauna, have you put in a fishing ramada in any of the other parks and any positive, negative results?
Craig and Dave could probably answer that better, but not
Well-
if you, there's only very few parks that have,
Yeah, Kiwanis Park has.
but they do
what,
have
7
Kiwanis,
fishing
yeah,
armadas?
linkage.
Yeah, Kiwanis has like 7 fishing armadas, I believe, somewhere around that area.
Positive, negative?
Always positive. There's a lot of people fishing there, so.
It's just the idea
They-
provides you a shady spot that you could sit and maybe look at the lake, like maybe even in a light rain, or, I mean, it
Yeah,
just
oh,
provides
yes.
cover from the elements. Or even if it's super hot, it's gonna keep the heat off of you better than possibly, just a
And
tree.
it's
and you have
better
to be there right
for-
time of day.
For someone in a wheelchair, I liked the aspect that you can get close to the pond
Mhm.
and just sit there and have shade if you're in a wheelchair. Because I bring hospice patients over there, and we go around the loop there.
Yeah, so you may not want a picnic table, but you may just want a bench to sit with them and look at the lake,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so that's the idea of a fishing ramada. You don't have to fish, but it's not, it doesn't have those picnic tables to
Yes.
sit in. It's more of a bench kind of
Yeah,
style.
Yeah,
it's a really nice view actually from there. I can't remember if I showed
Yes,
pictures or not.
very pretty.
And LA, if you get a chance, do take
Yeah,
a walk
see the-
around Kiwanis, because those are actually pretty neat spaces. So
Okay,
I've been
Or I
kind of
could-
a proponent
That
of
would be,
doing that. Yeah.
I'll take, yeah, okay.
minus the
Yes.
sign, that would be your view.
Yeah. And
Oh,
Dave, I mean, another option might be to put more of those little spots where you can, Dave put a really nice spot when they remodeled the park.
The wheelchair spot, yeah.
Yeah, that's.
yeah, I
just
use that a
such
lot.
Yeah, I
That's a
see
great
that used.
spot. Love that spot. Love everything you've done.
Thank you.
All terrific and great suggestions too. A lot to think about. Certainly I will do the survey. I'm sorry that more neighbors haven't joined us today. I did do the shout out, but
Well, hopefully they'll
we're
still
here.
proceed.
Yeah, hopefully. It's just, I wish people were more
If not, I
involved.
mean, the survey's online for 2 weeks, so, they have 2 weeks
Yeah.
to fill out the survey with their opinion.
Will the survey results be available to neighbors?
Yes, we post those all on the project website. And as I had mentioned, we'll keep you guys updated. So we'll
Thank
send
you.
out regular postcards as we move further in any kind of design for the different improvements. And then for those that specifically fill out the survey, we also use email in addition to the postcards to keep you updated throughout the project. And then we do either way update the website with those results. It usually takes
Yeah,
at least a week or two after because to compile them, but those are on there as well. As
And
will
I
all
was-
these pictures be up there and everything.
I was also
Okay.
going to point out that usually as you're taking one of these surveys, you can click on the other tab and you can see what other people are saying on a lot, if you're logged in.
Oh,
so-
yeah.
And this one's a little different because it's focused for the neighborhood around the park versus citywide, and so you won't have,
Mhm.
it's not in the same
Oh, you won't.
platform, so you won't see. some of them.
Okay,
Oh,
okay.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah, for
usually
our neighborhood
I
parks, we specifically invite those residents closest to the park and then have signs up for others who may be interested.
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
Well, great presentation. A lot of
Yes, thank you.
information.
you.
And
well, I
looks-
have no further questions or input, and thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank
hope
you.
to
We
see you this
appreciate your
evening.
time.
Yeah, thanks for making it, both of you.
We
Yep.
appreciate everything you guys do for the city and for all our neighbors. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.